All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another live stream, bringing you the latest in Chelsea news. And today's show is going to be very, very interesting. We're going to react to the latest, the Athletics article on Chelsea Football Club. It's a very interesting article to react to, and this is why I wanted to do this live stream, to see what you guys have to think about and say about all of this as well. It encapsulates everything that I feed is wrong at the moment internally with the club. So this article covers all of that ground, and I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see, as I said, what you guys think about it. And it'll be good to go through the entire article together and I suppose try and make as much sense as possible. So big up to each and every one of you guys for joining in and tuning in right now. Thank you so much. Like always, all the support is very, very appreciated. Benji is saying, what article? So there's an article that Simon Johnson, Liam Toomey of The Athletic, they just released about, in the app, it says they released about 6 hours ago. But I think everyone's just starting to hear more about the quotes now on Twitter. So, but the article has been live 6 hours ago. So I think 6 hours ago, people were just asleep and they didn't catch up to it. I just read the whole article and I thought it would be fantastic to go through the entire piece with you guys, because as I said, it encapsulates everything that is currently wrong internally in Chelsea Football Club. Stuff that we knew, but I think it's good to have it in one place where we can all discuss and make sense of it. So yeah, as I said, big up to each and every one of you guys. Thank you for joining. As always, smash the like button. That will be much appreciated. Before we get going, it would be great if you guys can hit that like button, get those likes up to well over 100. And if you're here for the first time, subscribe. We're only about 100 odd away from 22,000. That'll be fantastic. Big up to you, Nathan. Big up to you, In Life No Limits. Travis as well. Justice, Bernard, Comedy, Surfs, Mish, Top Dog, Top Dog RLG. I always get confused with that name, man. It's just too many G's and R and L's. Frederick, good to see you as well. Good to see each and every one of you guys. Point 44, Jeff Knightley. Brilliant. Okay, let's get the show up and rolling, because there's quite a lot to go through in this article. And I think... I want to see as many comments from you guys to make a really good discussion about this. So okay, let's get cracking on. Chelsea's players left yearning for stability after a season wrecked by upheaval. This is by Simon Johnson and Liam Toomey, April 29th, which is obviously today. So as I said, this got published about 6 hours ago, but obviously people are just tuning in on it now. And it goes something like this. Very, very interesting article. I think you guys are all going to enjoy this particular show, because I'm not enjoying the sense that enjoying our misery, but I think it's more of an educational piece. It's more of the knowledge. It's more about knowing and understanding what's going on, and what a massive task it's going to be for Maurizio Pochettino whenever he does get announced. Rathabil, thank you so much, my man. Big up to you as well. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam, my brother. Big up to you. And big up to Rupak Shubra as well. Milo, big up to you as well. Jeff Knightley too. Okay. It is as bad as I have ever known it. This is how one veteran Chelsea employee, speaking anonymously to The Athletic in order to protect his job, describes the mood among the Chelsea players at present. This individual has worked at Stamford Bridge for many years, so the assessment is one not to be taken lightly. Significantly, their sentiments have been echoed elsewhere by sources contacted in the process of compiling this article. All is not well. Further goes on to say the article, it should hardly come as a surprise. It would be more of a shock if the feeling was upbeat behind the scenes. Given the team have lost 5 games in succession, seen their last hopes of silverware wrecked by defeat to Real Madrid in the Champions League, and look likely to suffer the club's lowest finish in the Premier League this century. The previous worst showing was 10th in 2016. The current team are 6 points adrift of the top half in 11th with 6 games to play. As the club continued to work on appointing a new permanent head coach, with Mauricio Pochettino the firm favourite to be given the post, the reports of disquiet underline the scale of the task facing the next man at the helm. Bad results and performances will always cause morale to nosedive at any club. Yet, after talking to several sources in and around the camp, the impression lingers that it will take more than a few wins to galvanize the dressing room again. This is why I said in recent times, I don't think our fan base realizes what a huge task Pochettino has lined up for him. A lot of people are already saying we better get top 4 and get a cup run, or even win a domestic cup. I think we need to reassess our expectations, man. It's not going to get pleasant like that with a snap of a finger. I think there's a lot of hard work that's installed for us. To expect after this season, let's say we finish 14th, 15th, to expect to be top 4 off the back of that, we need to lower our expectation. And I know for some people it's not going to be good. For some people, they'll be like, nah, that's not Chelsea Football Club. Even for me, I've said, how can you lower your expectation? But I think we're going to have to. It's not going to get monumentally better in one season. It's step by step. Then it goes on to say, so what are the problems? The size of the squad is one significant factor. There are over 30 players reporting for training every day, and it is an impossible task to keep everyone content in that situation, largely because so many will know they stand little to no chance of playing. Huge problem. Huge problem. People think, well, what's going on? How come we look like, we don't know each other in the field? How come there's no chemistry, this, that, the other? This here is a huge problem. The large squad. We set up for failure from the get-go. Yes, we as a fan base enjoyed all the new shiny toys that we got thrown at us, for sure, because we're fans, right? We're fans at the end of the day. But the large squad was always going to be an issue. And I think most of us can sit here and say that we expected some outgoings in January. With all the incomings, fantastic, but we expected quite a lot of outgoings. And the one outgoing was Jorginho, who, that's a senior player that's been taken away from us. And the article actually talks about that. I will get into it. Players find themselves training with one group one day and different set of teammates the next, with no semblance of continuity as coaching staff attempt to instruct them all. With 6 fixtures to play, 33 players have made appearances for the senior team this season. No wonder Chelsea have not looked like a cohesive unit for most of the campaign. There you go. With 6 fixtures to play, there's only 6 more matches to play. 33 players have made appearances for the senior team this season. No wonder Chelsea have not looked like a cohesive unit for most of the campaign. We cannot make these mistakes again. Straight up, we cannot make these mistakes again. Thiago Silva has said this. And in fact, the article goes on and talks about this. Notably, veteran Thiago Silva spoke about the level of discontent after Chelsea's 2-0 loss to Real Madrid last week. It's hard period for the club with a lot of indecision, he said. Change of ownership, new players arriving. We had to increase the size of the changing room because it didn't fit the size of the squad. This is not a joke. Like Thiago Silva, the veteran, one of the most important players in our football club right now. He's saying this. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about the fans. He's saying it. You know, it's not a good look when he's saying the size of the squad is too big and a lot of indecisions. The changing room had to be increased in size. Do you know what I mean? A positive point is that there are amazing players in the squad. I think Raheem Sterling talks about this. He's made some comments recently where he talks about that whoever the new manager is will get a set of players that are highly talented. So that is a positive. On the other hand, there are always players that are going to be unhappy. There is always going to be someone upset because not everyone can play. Simple as. And this is where I tend to sympathize with Graham Potter to a certain degree. I know a lot of people don't like hearing this. Do I believe Potter was ready for Chelsea Football Club? No, of course not. I don't think he was made out for Chelsea Football Club. But do I think, we probably didn't give him an environment conducive for success? Yeah. We set him up to fail. We did set him up to fail. And now, someone, and once again, people will hate this, Frank Lampard is a junior level manager to Graham Potter. I know this may not go down well with many Lampard fanatics out there who can't distinguish between the player and the manager. But the truth of the matter is Lampard is a junior manager to Graham Potter. And it's not a surprise that Lampard's on a 5-match losing streak. Potter couldn't handle it. How are we going to expect Lampard to handle it? You know what I mean? So Frank Lampard will most likely lose all of them, if I'm being absolutely honest, the remaining matches. The manager can only pick 11 from a squad of 30-something. That's tough. So can't make the squad. We signed 8 in January. We need to stop and put a strategy in place. Otherwise, next season, we could make the same mistakes. So this is what Thiago Silva said recently. Spending over 500 million in 16 signings, Malo Gusto and Andre Santos will officially join in the summer. So more players will be joining. So if you're thinking, yeah, now, you know what? We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Like, we're just going to get rid of all of these players and it's going to be A-okay. More players are coming in. These are players we've signed, so they're going to come back and the loanees will come back. So, and getting rid of players is not that easy as well. Like, there's going to be a haggle with prices and this, that. I mean, Ziyech had a foot in PSG and he still couldn't get that done on the final day of the January transfer window because someone messed up, the documentation. It's not easy to get rid of players as well, especially when some of these players are probably not wanted. It's a huge task, huge task ahead. Top Dog RLG, thanks so much for the super chat, my man. The size of the squad isn't talked about enough and is probably the biggest reason for this awful season. I think things would have probably been different had we not had so many injuries at one point. Now, true talk. Size of the squad has been a huge factor because players, some know they're not going to be in the squad. Some know they're not even going to get game time. And it's very difficult to keep them motivated if that's the case. Mentally, you start switching off. 1 week you're playing, 1 week you're not. So you don't feel the importance. You just don't feel the importance. And it's a huge factor. It's a massive factor. And of course, with all the injuries, it didn't help out. And that's why we've gone and bought all of these players. Had we just released a few players, I think it would have been better. Okay. Spending over 500 million on 16 new signings, Malo Gusto and Andre Santos will officially join in the summer, while also taking Joao Felix and Dennis Zakaria on loan served to demonstrate the ambition of the new ownership. But the disruptions had hardly helped. The vast majority of the additions arrived after pre-season. Such a crucial period to build relationships and understanding was over. So that makes sense as well. This is why this upcoming preseason, we cannot screw it up anymore. We simply cannot screw it up. We screwed up the last preseason. And we brought in a lot of players after the preseason where It was all scrambled a little bit. Do you know what I mean? All the as this particular article states, such a crucial period to build relationships and understanding. It's the preseason's huge. The group gets together, and that's where you build plans, styles, structure. Do you know what I mean? You build relationships, understanding. We have to nail it. We simply have to nail the preseason. We have another awful preseason. Best believe we are lining up for another disaster class next season. There is concerns that the number could swell even larger ahead of next preseason. A deal is agreed for Red Bull Leipzig forward Christopher Nkunku, Gusto, and Santos are joining up, and others who spent this season out on loan are due to report back to Cobham training ground. That group includes Romelu Lukaku, Levi Colwill, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Ian Martin. So the task is not going to get any easier. Just when you thought, okay, we're going to get rid of all of these players, let's say Hakim Ziyech, Christian Pulisic, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Conor Gallagher, there's a whole heap of other players that are going to return back, and you're going to have to make a decision on them. People want to see Ian Martin, me as well. I love Ian Martin. It's got to be a decision made on him. Levi Colwill coming back. What does it mean for Buddy Shield? Buddy Shield don't start anymore. What does it mean for Chalobah? This, that, the other. Romelu Lukaku, the enigma. Already things are very rocky at Chelsea Football Club, and then this egotistic human being is about to come back. It ain't gonna get easy. Simple as. And then people have already forgotten about Callum Hudson-Odoi. We have to find a home for Callum Hudson-Odoi. He don't start for Bayer Leverkusen no more. Hudson-Odoi don't start, don't feature, don't even come off the bench. Sometimes he's not even on the bench. He's fit. Xavi Alonso has seen enough. However, it has been well documented that Chelsea will be looking to cut the size of the squad this summer. One of the reasons is to make it more manageable, but there is a financial incentive too. Due to financial fair play regulations, the aim will be to sell individuals on contracts entering their last year and who have indicated a reluctance to renew. Even so, there is a risk a player decides to run their deal down if they do not secure the move they want. The club will consider selling those with 2 years left on their deals as well, especially if a good offer is made for their services. I think this is why we get names floating around in the likes of Kovacic. He's got 2 years left. After this end of this season, there'll be 1 more year left, I believe. Kai Havertz, similar situation as well. We'll have 2 years left. Some of these players, if the right offer is there, they'll have to be considered to be let go of. Mason Mount, obviously, after this particular season, will have only 1 more season left. I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek, the same boat as well, 2 seasons left. So we do need to cleave people out, not just the fact that we need a smaller squad for managing purpose, but financial fair play. Financial fair play is huge. And this is why I can't entertain when I see rumors about Harry Kane or Osimhen or this, that, the other. These players will cost us an arm and a leg. Do we have the money? We probably do. It's just about the financial fair play. We have to be within the rules and regulations. We are on a massive loss at the moment for the past two seasons or so. And we are lining up to have another loss this season, which will mean we're going to be breaching financial fair play. A lot of these players will have to go. A lot of these players. And that will mean more new players. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to get easier. New players will take time. There is adaptation. Do you know what I mean? And more changes for the current players, the existing players, they're going to see. And this is something the article goes on to say. A scenario where several players could leave is never conducive to an upbeat atmosphere. There you go. So when you know there's going to be a lot of players that are going to move on, that's not a healthy environment to be at. because everyone's feeling like, well, I'm not even going to be around anymore. Do you know what I mean? It does not make the situation better. Chelsea are well within their rights to consider whether some in the squad have a future at Stamford Bridge, given how poorly the side have been performing. But it is not just the club looking to part ways. The Athletic has been told that several squad members want to leave. So there you go. Not just that we want them to go, there's a lot that want to leave too. So there's a mutual feeling. Do you know what I mean? And the ones that want to leave, I say to them, leave. Straight up leave. No hard feelings, nothing. Honestly, no hard feelings. You want to leave? Understandable. This is not a good environment at the moment. Leave. So not only we want players to leave, there are certain players that want to leave themselves as well. All of it. All of it. Go. Do you know what I mean? All of it. There has to be a proper rebuild. Unfortunately, there has to be a proper rebuild. Top Dog RLG, thank you so much for the super chat. Miz, I think the worry of Lukaku coming back is unnecessary. Poch demands 100% loyalty or you're booted. Not to mention that he doesn't fit his high-intensity pressing style. Can't see him coming back. Look, no problems. Even I can't see him coming back. But the strangest of things have happened, man, in life. Financially, this is an issue. Top Dog, financially, this is an issue because he's contracted to us for three more years. Unless we find him another loan deal somewhere, he's going to have to be our player. So I don't want to worry too much, but I don't want to see him in preseason. If we don't have something locked up for him before preseason, this will be an issue because he'll have to come to the preseason with us. And I don't want that. I really don't want that. But yeah. Chelsea are well within their rights to consider whether some of the squads have a future at Stamford Bridge, given how poorly the side have been performing. But it is not just the club looking to part ways. The Athletic has been told that several squad members want to leave. Not all of those concerned fit into the 12 months left on their contract. So there you go. So it's not about just 12 months left on their contract or 2 years left. There are certain players that just want to leave. And that could be some of the new players. Do you know what I mean? It could be some of the players that we purchased recently. Chelsea have handed out long contracts stretching beyond 5 years to several players. Some of those were already at the club when the takeover was completed almost a year ago. Many of the new signings have been secured on these long-term deals. Yet sources close to senior players who will remain anonymous to protect relationships suggest some are already starting to express regret at having committed to such a lengthy term. Wow. This is why we as fan base, we were a little bit skeptical about this whole long-term contracts. I mean, who are the players that signed a long-term contract, ladies and gentlemen? In the live chat, nearly 260 plus. Who are some of the players that signed a long-term contract recently? Reece James, Chalobah, I think. And obviously the new incomers, Enzo Fernandez, Mudryk, Noni Madueke. So out of these players, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised if some of them feel a little bit, Buddy Shield, Reece James, Buddy Shield, Wesley Fofana, Enzo, Mudryk, yep. I won't be surprised if some of them are questioning their move now. Really wouldn't be surprised. Do you know what I mean? Some I can already see that they're saying Mudryk is probably the one who's thinking that way. Don't be surprised if Reece James is also thinking that way. Don't be surprised. There's high demand for Reece James. You know, Real Madrid like Reece James. Man City like Reece James. Don't be surprised if Reece is not thinking in one side that this is not the same Chelsea that won the Champions League a couple of seasons ago. This is under a new regime now. I'm just saying, like, it's easy to pinpoint on Mudryk or anyone else, but don't be surprised if it's some of the existing players that were there from before. Abayomi, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. If I were Buddy Shield, I will be confused. What have I done wrong? Am I not good enough? Why am I being benched? It has been a real mess, and the owners need some learnings to do, most especially. True talk. The fact that Chalobah gets ahead of him in LCB position when Chalobah's not even an LCB. And Badiashile is quite crazy. Yeah. Yet, sources close to senior players who will remain anonymous to protect relationships suggest some are already starting to express regret at having committed to such a lengthy term. That some of the signings who arrived over the past 12 months are a little disillusioned is understandable. As part of the negotiation process, they would have been under the impression they were going to be key parts of an exciting project that may still come to pass. But there has been very little evidence of it yet. Neither have many of them become first team regulars yet. They have spent more time among the substitutes or not involved at all, with interim head coach Frank Lampard having stressed players are being picked on the basis of how they train. Look, this straight away says it's Mudryk or Noni Madueke, right? It's Mudryk or Noni Madueke. The players that have been signed in the last 12 months, and probably even Koulibaly, you could probably say, certain times Koulibaly doesn't get picked. Could it be Sterling? Maybe it's Sterling as well. Who knows? Sometimes he doesn't get picked. But Sterling has been injured as well. But this particular sentence right here, neither have many of them become first team regulars yet. Surely. That's Madueke and Mudryk. They have spent more time among the substitutes or not involved at all. Who knows, maybe David Dutra Fofana could also, you can throw in David Dutra Fofana into the mix. Abayomi is seeing, I think it's Enzo. Enzo is getting game time. Enzo is one who's playing every single match. So I don't think it's him. But the bottom line is, it's not healthy. It's simply not healthy. Even the newcomers are not feeling, whatever the club has promised is not going the right way. Kani Chukwuemeka, good talk. Yes, Kani Chukwuemeka is one of them as well. David Dutra Fofana, definitely. But yeah, most of those who have agreed new contracts since the new ownership came in agreed a clause which would see their wages drop by minimum 30% if Chelsea do not qualify for the Champions League, which will be the case next season. The reality of that situation is just hitting home. There is a group of players who are not affected by such cutbacks because they are still on the contracts signed under the previous regime. The policy under the current hierarchy was only adopted after the club had already signed Raheem Sterling and Kalidou Koulibaly last July, so it does not apply to them. Wow. So Enzo Fernandez, Mudryk, Noni Madueke, and anyone else who was signed after Raheem Sterling and Kalidou Koulibaly, they're all going to cop a pay cut. They're all going to cop a pay cut. And this is probably one of the reasons why Mason Mount probably hasn't signed a new contract as well, because his previous contract, there won't be any clause of a pay cut. Had he signed a new contract at, let's say, 160K, take 30% out of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is probably one of the reasons why he hasn't signed a new contract yet, because he knows you're about to get a pay cut. Reece James will get a pay cut. Chilwell will get a pay cut. Chilwell recently signed a new contract, no? Yeah, Shubra, good spot. Kukurea as well. Yes, even Kukurea and Fofana. Yep. All of these players, man. All of these players. Point 44 saying, MIZ, our most exciting under-20 player, in my opinion, is David Dutra Fofana. The pace and technical ability he showed in maybe 45 minutes of the game time is promising now. He looked good. I'm very surprised that he hasn't featured more. Jay Money, good to see you as well. But yeah, the fact that there's going to be pay cuts, it's not going to make it easier for some of these players next season. And the fact that there'll be some players that are not going to get pay cut. So there'll be certain players that are going to get pay cut, and then there'll be certain players that are not going to get pay cut. Surely that is not healthy. Surely that is not healthy. As one of the sources referred to the above tells The Athletic, that situation is hardly going to help harmony within the group. You'll have some players paying the price financially for the bad results this season, and some who are not. Chelsea will rightly argue that the players agreed to these contracts and they would not be in this situation had the side had performed on the pitch to maintain their place in the Champions League. Regardless, it has added to the sense of unrest. Yeah, sure, we can turn around and say, well, you signed the contract. We didn't force you, but still, The unrest will be there. To acknowledge the number of head coaches who have overseen Chelsea games this season has not helped matters would be an understatement. So, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, size of the squad, financial issues, players feeling some will leave, some will stay, some probably want to go. They might not even be on the list. All of these factors obviously has been affecting them mentally to perform. And then on top of that, now throwing the managers. So as you can see, the different level of issues that we have, it's not a coincidence that we are 11th and we're potentially going to be 14, 15. It's a mess. And honestly speaking, this is why I've been saying this for the past few videos. The owners, man, the owners, they've come in and they've tried to change a whole heap of things all at once. Look at the situation with the physio that they're trying to call back. And the article talks about this. The owners have to fix up before anyone. I'm telling you right now, the owners have to fix up before anyone. To acknowledge the number of head coaches who have overseen Chelsea games this season has not helped matters would be an understatement. The club have been through 4. Thomas Tuchel 7 matches, Graham Potter 31, Bruno Salto 1, and Lampard 5. Have all watched on from the dugout, flanked by various assistants. Lampard was named caretaker for the rest of the season when Potter was dismissed at the start of April, with Bruno having taken charge of that goalless draw with Liverpool. Yet even with Lampard in place as a stopgap, uncertainty over what happens next persists. There is only so much he can say and do under the circumstances. That is why the announcement over the full-time head coach cannot come soon enough. Silva did highlight that it will not be as simple as that, though. We can't be blaming managers if we don't take responsibility, he added. Everybody talks too much about replacing managers. I think we as players must also take responsibility. We have had 3 managers this season, plus a 4th with Bruno, where we failed to win. With Lampard, we have failed to win. Everybody is talking about the managers, but we must look at what has been done wrong and try to change. Once again, Thiago Silva trying to highlight a message to the owners. It's not just about keep changing the manager. You're doing other stuff that needs to stop. The co-owners, Todd Bowley and Baghdad Iqbali, have been regular visitors to the training ground and the dressing room this season. Having invested so much, no one can accuse them of lacking commitment to the cause. As I've said recently, I think the intentions of the new owners are there. The intentions are good, but they just don't know how to run this organization. They don't know the industry of football. But some of the visits after the game have raised eyebrows. There you go. This is internal source. So for all those fans that have continuously said in recent times, so what if the owners go to the dressing room? They've got the right. They own the club. Internal sources are saying it's raised an eyebrow, particularly the match publicized drop in by Bowley after the recent home loss to Brighton. Lampard had already given the group a stern talking to when Bowley walked in and held court. The co-owner, seeking to coax more from the group, suggested the team's performances had not matched their quality or pedigree. How do you think that will go down? Questioning their quality and their pedigree after everything that we've just read through that has been detrimental to the entire cause. Then you have the owners coming in and questioning your pedigree and quality and your price tag, this, that, the other. The players had not made the anticipated contribution. A few of the signings made in the past 12 months were singled out during his speech. A few of the signings made in the past 12 months were singled out during his speech. Honestly, I'm not surprised that we're losing. I'm not surprised. And I'm not going to be surprised if we keep losing more, because it seems like the players are getting thrown under the bus. And clearly we don't have an environment for them to shine. It should be pointed out that Lampard said he did not have a problem with Bowley's action. He has since spoken about liking the passion demonstrated by the owners. It's crazy. I mean, I guess what else Lampard's going to say? He's employed by Chelsea Football Club. He can't go against it. I'm pretty sure deep down, Frank probably wouldn't appreciate this. Kepa Arrizabalaga also insisted it was not an issue, saying Todd comes to the changing room every game. Todd comes to the changing room every game. He had different chats with us after different games. It was normal when he came in after the Brighton loss. Now it's normal. It's normal. This whole situation has become very, very normal. Other issues have served to unsettle. There have been comings and goings over the last 12 months, from medical staff to ground staff and within the club's management structure. It was always going to take time to adjust to the absence of those who have left. Players are not seeing the familiar faces around the side that they had grown used to. I said this in my recent videos. It's not easy for an individual. Just put yourself. Think about you going to work and you know all of these familiar faces. And all of a sudden, one day you go to work and you don't know anyone. You're going to feel alienated. You're not going to feel comfortable. Simple as. It will affect you mentally. Either figures with whom they had been comfortable have been moved on. And especially if you're comfortable with the physio or you're comfortable with XYZ people within the club, it don't make it easy. It simply don't make it easy when they're not there anymore. I know, I've been in workplaces where I'm mates with someone for so long and we're so well connected, and then that person either resigns or been let go of or whatever the case is. It's difficult. It's very difficult to move on from those sort of situation. Similarly, it will take time for the new arrivals to bed in and for people to get comfortable with their roles. But that state of flux has added to the uncertainty around the place. With this is a period of transition. One source describes seeing such a long queue of staff for lunch at the club's training ground one day that it stretched outside the entrance to the dining room and down to the corridor. That was unprecedented. Like, that's the amount of people that we have. Look at all the directors that we have. And we're looking to get even more, many more directors apparently. And that's just the directors, the board. Whole heap of different personnel have come through, and obviously the squad being at 30 plus. Maybe if there were natural leaders, and this is important, this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is a huge point. And this is something, I don't know if you guys watch Vibe with Vibe often enough. Like I watch some of their episodes, really, really nice, insightful conversations that take place, especially when they bring in ex-players. Recently, they brought in Nemanja Vidic, obviously massive partnership between Rio Ferdinand. If you haven't seen that episode, it's in 2 parts. Watch it. The stuff that Vidic was saying, in order to be a successful football club, I think these are the things that we're going to see right now, and I'll try my level best to elaborate on it as well. Maybe if there were natural leaders in positions of power in the dressing room, the players might be impervious to the change. But this Chelsea team lacks such voices. Figures who can explain to newcomers what the club is all about. It's true. We don't have the spine. Do you know what I mean? Like, people talk about that spine, right? Yeah, back in our days, the legendary days, Peter Cech, JT, Frank Lampard, Ashley Cole, Didier Drogba, and many more. Like, those players never changed. Those were the spine. And then, yes, we still got in new players in. You know, the likes of Hazard, Mata, Oscar, this, that, the other. All of these players came in. But the spine stayed. And it's so important to have that spine. Right now, there is no spine. So, and then right now, a lot of the players want to leave as well. So it's a difficult situation when you're trying to create a character within the team where the team is so new. It's not healthy. Some people are saying we let go of Rudiger. That was probably a mistake. But look, you know, Rudiger as well was wanting to look for a lucrative deal. We then had the sanctions and the ownership stuff. And then by the time the new owners came in, Rudiger just probably felt that the new owners wouldn't give him the level of money that he wants. So it was a difficult situation. But yeah, we don't have a spine, which is difficult. For a new manager to come in, they'll have to build, like they'll have to, from the get-go, pick certain players to be leaders from here on in. And I said it recently, I'll put down Ben Chilwell as one of them. I honestly will. I think Ben Chilwell shows the characteristic that he's that leadership quality. I would even have Enzo Fernandez there. Enzo Fernandez, Ben Chilwell, these are the players, and then I'll add more. Reece James, if he's fit enough. Do you know what I mean? Some people are saying Levi Colwell will only have his feet in next season. I highly doubt we can just throw him in to a leadership situation. Right now, I can only think about Chilwell and Enzo Fernandez. I don't really, because Kovacic, there's question marks whether he's going to stay or not. N'Golo Kante, yes, he's definitely a leader type, but he's more leader on field. Not someone who's going to be very boisterous off field. Kepa, yeah, I don't know. Wesley Fofana's a really good one as well. Yes, King Prince, Wesley Fofana, that's another player. These are the players Pochettino will have to identify to create the new batch of leaders. It's a must. It's a must. Cesar Azpilicueta is still on the scene and has seen it all over his 11-year stint at the club, but he has barely played since suffering a head injury in February. He is one of the candidates who could leave in the summer. It doesn't help when you're the captain of the football club, but you don't play. It's very difficult. And these are some of the things that Nemanja Vidic was saying. Check that episode out with Rio Ferdinand and Vibe with Vibe. It's very difficult for a captain when you don't play to command that level of authority. Very difficult. You need to play. You need to be an example. Very, very tough. The two outstanding academy graduates, Mason Mount and Reece James, have struggled with injury as well as patchy form for much of the season. Thiago Silva is a key figure and a player whose reputation precedes him, but he is hardly in a position to give rallying speeches, not least because he is far from fluent in English. And look, this is a problem. When you're not fluent in English, there's only that much you can do. And Thiago Silva, look, is how much more can we ask this guy to do for us, man? He's done so much. He's on his last legs now. Do you know what I mean? Like, for him to now step in and, galvanize the group, like, he wants to chill back a little bit now. Mason Mount, Reece James. Mason Mount, all of the conversation about him possibly leaving and the contract stuff, I don't think would have helped. It doesn't help if he wants to be a leader type of a player at Chelsea Football Club. Reece James, with the injuries and his indifferent form as well, and recently, once again, doesn't help. The departure of Jorginho, who was sold to Arsenal for 12 million in January, has actually been a significant blow. He was a very popular figure among the group and one who could converse in all language. Hey, it's not me saying this. This article and whoever the internal source is, and I kid you not, a lot of the players, Reece James, I think, said in his, when he was interacting on Twitter not that long ago, a couple of ballers at Chelsea Football Club, Jorginho and Kovacic. Like, some of these, even Mason Mount, like, every time, whether there's some interview asking him about, like, current Chelsea, they'll say Jorginho. Like, a lot of players did appreciate Jorginho. They really did. It's the fan base. It's the fan base. We couldn't appreciate it. And it's the fact that some of our managers couldn't, create a structure that was conducive to get the best out of Jorginho. Look, Jorginho's gone. So I don't want to spend too much time talking. And there was flaws in Jorginho. I'm not even going to lie. Jorginho, personally, in terms of his footballing ability, there were flaws. But what I'm trying to highlight here is he was a well-respected figure in the group. And as you can see here, he was a very popular figure among the group and one who could converse in all languages. Like, it was a significant blow. There you go. So that was huge. One source who's close to the senior players and does not want to be named to protect relationships has noticed some are choosing to stay at home during their downtime more than usual rather than taking the opportunity to unwind to ease the pressure by going out together. This is always a difficult situation to judge because if the players are pictured on a night out, it could be misconstrued for not caring enough about what is going on. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the issue in regards to social media in this modern era. We fans, we are culpable as well. We are culpable. As soon as we see a player out and about, we think, oh, this guy doesn't care about Chelsea Football Club. Do you know what I mean? We're not allowing them to live a normal life either. Some of these players, I mean, look at Aubameyang recently. He was seen celebrating in the Barcelona dugout when Barca won that El Clasico about a month ago. I mean, what do we expect from Aubameyang, man? He's abolished from the team. He's not in the squad. What can he? We can't expect Aubameyang to just sulk at home. He's got a life as well. He's got to live, right? And that's just one example. But it looks like some of these players are even scared to go out now because someone's going to take a picture, they're going to upload it on Twitter, and they're going to put a caption, and then before you know, the hate will be gargantuan. The hate will be gargantuan. This is always a difficult situation to judge because if a player is pictured on a night out, it could be misconstrued for not caring enough about what is going on. The high wages they earn means few fans are sympathetic to the notion that players can suffer like anyone else. When their job is not going well, if you are not in good place mentally, it is a lot harder to perform. This is the thing. People think, oh, you earn a lot of money, you should just keep your mouth shut and there shouldn't be any problems. Nah, man, these players mentally suffer. This is what I've been saying. I don't want to blame the players completely. They're culpable, but I don't think this is all on them. I don't even think it's majority on them either. I think majority of the blame goes to the owners, in my personal opinion. In truth, this season has fizzled out early, barring the Champions League quarterfinal against Real Madrid. There has been little to play for. The Premier League challenge never materialized, and the chance for securing a top four finish disappeared a while back too. There has been a sentiment in some quarters that only way to fix things to get through the remaining games have the summer break and then start again to rest. While this season has been a disappointment to say the least, there is optimism the club can bounce back under new management. After all, the last time Chelsea experienced a season as bad as this, they won the Premier League the next year under Antonio. That season wasn't as bad as this. I know which season you're talking about. The Jose Mourinho season when he got sacked. When the craziness happened with Eva, the back then the physio, the medical stuff. This is even worse. It is quite a leap to say history will repeat itself, but it does provide hope among the gloom. Now, I'm not going to be sitting here and thinking that we're going to win the league next season because previously we did that when we had a poor season. And it's not as simple as that anymore, especially when you have Pep Guardiola hanging about, and there's so many quality managers as well. Still, the sooner the club appoint a new coach to start repairing the damage in the dressing room, the better. Absolutely. This is why I've wanted Pochettino to come in as quickly as possible and get a feel of the situation and get an understanding. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much the article. And I hope you guys got a lot out of it. I want to take some few final comments from you guys. Let me know what you thought about the whole situation, everything that article talked about, all the different issues. And as I said, it kind of encapsulates everything that is wrong with Chelsea Football Club right now. And there's a huge task, huge task next season lined up for Pochettino. And we need to ensure we have the right expectations for next season. That's all I'm going to say. But let's see some of your comments. Top Dog RLG, thank you once again for the super chat, my man. By the way, really, really appreciate your super chat. I think you deserve to be a moderator, man. So I'm going to make you a moderator. There you go, top dog RLG. You are a moderator of the channel because, just unbelievable the amount of super chats you always provide as well. I know it won't happen, but given the amount of work that needs to be done at the club from top to bottom, I wonder if it won't be better for Pochettino to come in now. This is why I wanted him to come in right now. I really did. Just get a head start. Make the assessment now. Why wait till the new season starts and the preseason is where you make your assessment? No, make the assessment now. I'm sure he's already making some sort of assessments already, but when you're in the dugout and when you're there in the training ground, you'll get the feel of what needs to be done, who needs to stay, who needs to go, what you want your training sessions to look like next season. What are some of your ground rules? Do the owners get to come to the dressing room as often as they have been? This, that, the other. What is the policy for transfer markets? Once again, Nemanja Vidic, with 5 was saying, it's not just about just bringing some players. Oh, they look good. This name look good. No, it's about how are we going to play our football next season? What is going to be our style? What is going to be a structure? And then based on that, let's bring in the players that fit in. Very important. Sometimes it might not even be that high-profile name. Sometimes it's someone that just fits our plans. It sounds like we need a man manager most of all, which is why Poch might work out. I hope he truly does work out, man. Truly, truly hope he works out. I really want Martinez as our new goalkeeper. That Argentine connection between him and Enzo will be strong. Ms. Will Poch take the job after watching this stream? I'm pretty sure he knows about all of these issues anyway. I don't think he needs this stream to figure out that there are some issues. He's a smart individual. Villa have wealthy owners. Getting Martinez may not be possible. That's why selling Mount isn't a good idea. Similar to Georgie, think that what it'll do to players like Reece James, Broya, and the rest of the squad. Fair enough. Kukurea plays bad and it's sell him. Chilwell plays bad and it's everyone else's fault. Oh my days. Can't be sitting here and entertaining these sort of comments. Joshua, I'll take this final comment. Ms. Who do you think Poch will fancy and who would be sold? Look, that's a difficult one, and that's probably for another day. I think he could fancy Mason Mount. I really do think he could fancy Mason Mount. He could potentially keep him. He'll fancy the young ones. He'll fancy, Mudryk. He'll fancy Noni Madueke. He'll fancy Wesley Fofana, Lewa Colwell, Buddy Shield. But maybe some of the other players, like in terms of Ziyech, I don't know. Some rumors are saying he'll fancy Christian Pulisic. I really hope we've seen enough. I hope he doesn't fancy Havertz as well. I hope Havertz moves on. Look, I mean, maybe this is me thinking from a fan's perspective, what works for him. A lot of people are trying to predict that he's going to play the same style of football that the Spurs played under him. Look, it could be a very different style of football. Who knows? Who knows? Pochettino hasn't been managing for a good part of 1 year, 12 months. He was vying for the Man United role, if you guys don't remember, before Ten Hag. Like, he was heavily linked, and they went with Ten Hag. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what type of football he plays with us, and we'll take it from there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap things up. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash the like button before you go. And if you're here for the first time, subscribe. Hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Hopefully this was some sort of a fruitful discussion. Until next time, everyone, take care. See ya.